The Los Angeles Dodgers just turned their biggest rival into their personal AAA team, and nobody's talking about how insane this actually is. What's happening between these two teams right now isn't baseball rivalry anymore, it's complete domination. The Dodgers aren't just beating the Padres on the field, they're literally buying their roster piece by piece, and the most humiliating part is the Padres are helping them do it. See, the Padres used to be a real threat. Back in 2019 and 2020, they were the team that was finally going to challenge LA's stranglehold on the NL West. They had this owner, Peter Seidler, who said, "Screw it, we're going all in." They signed Manny Machado to that monster $300 million deal, and that was just the beginning. They traded for Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, and they went out and got Xander Bogaerts for $280 million. They locked up Fernando Tatis Jr. for $340 million before he even hit arbitration. They were throwing around money like they were the Yankees. San Diego was finally going to have its moment. And you know what? For about 5 minutes, it actually worked. In 2022, they actually beat the Dodgers in the division series, and if you were in San Diego that night, you could hear the entire city losing its mind. But here's where this story turns dark. The Dodgers didn't just recover from that loss, they turned it into fuel. They looked at what the Padres were trying to do and realized something. Why compete with San Diego when you can just wait for them to go broke and then buy their best players? Because that's exactly what started happening. The bills for all those massive contracts started coming due, and suddenly the Padres realized they had a problem. A $170 million problem that was growing every year. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are sitting there with their $240 million payroll that might as well be infinite because they've got TV deals worth billions and a stadium that prints money. Now watch how this plays out, because it's the same story every single time. Blake Snell wins a Cy Young in San Diego, and the Padres have to let him walk because they're broke. Josh Hader becomes the most dominant closer in baseball and gets traded before his payday. Juan Soto puts up MVP numbers for exactly 1 year, then gone because they couldn't afford him. Every time the Padres get elite talent, they become a warehouse for teams with real money, and the Dodgers have a platinum membership. Right now, we're watching it happen again with Dylan Cease. This dude threw 224 strikeouts last season, and he's exactly what any contender needs. The Padres are about to lose their ace not because he's bad, but because they literally cannot afford to keep him. And the Dodgers, who need another starter, are right there waiting. The Dodgers front office probably starts every morning checking what the Padres are trying to dump. But let me tell you why this is even worse than it looks. The Padres didn't just spend money they couldn't afford, they also traded away their entire future to try to win now. When they got Soto, they gave up 5 players, including multiple top prospects. When they got Darvish, Musgrove, Snell, same thing. So now, they're in this special kind of hell, where they can't afford the expensive players they have, and they don't have any cheap young talent coming up to replace them. Think about Fernando Tatis Jr. for a second. This was supposed to be the guy. The Padres gave him $340 million, and then he gets popped for PEDs and suspended 80 games, and suddenly that contract looks like an anchor that's going to drag them down for the next decade. Meanwhile, the Dodgers deferred $680 million of Ohtani's $700 million deal, so it barely counts against their luxury tax. The Dodgers found a way to pay a player $700 million without it actually costing them $700 million right now, while the Padres are drowning in contracts they have to pay in full. It's like one team is playing chess while the other team doesn't even know they're in a game. The psychological destruction here is something we've never seen before. Imagine being a Padres fan and every year you watch the same movie. Your team gets a player, you buy his jersey, you create memories. Then 2 years later you turn on ESPN, and there he is putting on a Dodger hat, talking about how excited he is to play for a winner. That's not just losing. That's having your heart ripped out over and over again. You know what makes this even more brutal? The geography. San Diego and LA are 2 hours apart. These aren't teams on opposite coasts. These are neighbors. And now, when the Dodgers come to town, Petco Park fills up with blue, and you can hear "Let's Go Dodgers" chants in what's supposed to be San Diego's house. The business side of this is actually fascinating in a completely messed up way. The Padres generate about $250 million in revenue per year. The Dodgers? They're pushing $600 million. The Dodgers' TV deal with Spectrum is worth $330 million per year just from TV before they sell a single ticket. The Padres' TV deal? Maybe $60 million a year if they're lucky. So the Dodgers make more from TV alone than the Padres' entire payroll. This creates a cascade effect that ruins everything for San Diego. Free agents don't want to sign there because they know they're going to get salary dumped in 2 years. Young players know they're either going to get traded or sold to a contender. The manager can't build a culture because the roster turns over based on who they can't afford. And AJ Preller has to wake up every morning knowing he's basically running a liquidation sale. He's not building a team, he's managing decline. Every move is about minimizing damage, not maximizing success. Speaking of damage, the Padres need revenue desperately, but their biggest drawing games are against the Dodgers. So they're dependent on their rivals' fans coming to their stadium and taking it over just to make ends meet. It's like needing your bully's lunch money to eat. The media coverage makes it worse because every baseball website, every podcast, every analyst is constantly talking about which Padres players the Dodgers should target next. Like it's not even speculation anymore, it's just accepted reality that San Diego's roster is LA's future roster. MLB Network might as well have a permanent segment called "Which Padre Becomes a Dodger," because that's basically what half their coverage amounts to anyway. Remember Ha-Seong Kim? He's probably next. Solid utility player, exactly what a contender needs. The Padres know they should keep him, but they also know they can't afford to. The Dodgers need infield depth, and they've got money to burn. You can write that story right now, but it gets even worse when you think about the draft and development. The Padres can't tank properly because they owe too much to veterans. They can't compete because they don't have resources. So they're stuck in the middle, which in baseball is the worst place to be. No high draft picks, no playoff runs, just mediocrity. The Dodgers have turned the Padres into their personal minor league system, except it's better than actual minor leagues. In the minors, you pay for development and wait years to see if prospects pan out. With the Padres, the development is done and the risk is taken. The Dodgers just swoop in for the finished product at a discount. What really twists the knife is remembering what could have been. In 2022, when the Padres beat the Dodgers, they had Machado and Soto and Hader and Snell and Darvish and Musgrove. That team was loaded, but they didn't win it all, and now most of those guys are gone. Manny Machado has to be looking around that clubhouse thinking, what the hell happened? He signed there to win championships, and now he's captain of a sinking ship. And his contract becomes an albatross in a few years too, so even he might end up getting dumped. Think about Joe Musgrove, who's from San Diego, and took less money to stay home. He's watching his rotation mates get sold off and replaced with rookies. He chose loyalty and got rewarded with dysfunction. The Dodgers, meanwhile, just keep stacking talent. They got Ohtani and Yamamoto and Freeman and Betts, and they're about to add more because they can. They're building super teams while the Padres are figuring out how to field 9 guys without going bankrupt. Some Padres players probably want to get traded to the Dodgers. If you're Dylan Cease and you see what's happening, where would you rather be? The team that's selling or the team that's buying? The word around baseball has to be that San Diego is where careers go to die, while LA is where they go to get rings. That reputation becomes self-fulfilling because good players don't want to sign with the Padres and the ones there want out. The national media barely pretends the Padres matter anymore. When they talk about the NL West, it's the Dodgers and then everybody else. ESPN wants Dodgers games because they draw ratings. The Padres are just content filler. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Padres had everything lined up. The owner willing to spend, the stars aligned, the farm system graduated talent, and they went for it. They did everything right, except for one thing. They weren't the Dodgers. So now we watch the annual tradition of the Padres selling and the Dodgers buying. Dylan Cease will probably be in Dodger blue by opening day, and Padres fans will have to watch him dominate for their rival. Then next offseason, it'll be someone else. The Padres wanted to beat their rival, but instead, they became their rival's farm system. They're not a competitor anymore. They're a resource, not an opponent, but a supplier. You know what the real tragedy is? There's no way out. The Padres can't suddenly generate Dodger money, and they can't undo the contracts, and they can't get back the prospects they traded. They're trapped in a prison they built themselves, and the Dodgers are the wardens. Welcome to modern baseball, where the small market team doesn't win. The big market team buys their best players and gets even stronger. The Dodgers haven't just beaten the Padres, they've absorbed them. And the worst part for Padres fans? This is just the beginning. The contracts get worse. The revenue gap gets bigger and the talent drain continues. Your team isn't dying. It's being slowly digested by your rival, and you get to watch it happen for the next decade. That's not just defeat, that's complete humiliation. The Padres tried to compete and ended up becoming the very thing they were trying to defeat. A farm system for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The team that tried to compete became the team getting harvested piece by piece while the whole league watches. One team with infinite money buying from a team that went broke trying to compete with them. Over and over until there's nothing left but empty seats and broken dreams in San Diego. That's your modern rivalry, folks. It's not about who wins on the field anymore, it's about who can afford to keep playing. And in that game, the Dodgers already won before it even started.